Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. So we've been working on a game called Fog, and just recently we started working on a lot of the animations, and we've been drawing his sprinting, his running, his strafing, and so I've gone ahead and written up a couple more things that I want to work on today. I went ahead and worked on some of those animations already, which has been nice. So let me show you how all of those look. Yeah, welcome to the stream. We got running, and then we have sprinting, and we've done all of that colored, so it's fully finished, and this is how those look right now. So we got the running, strafing I need to work on a little bit, and then here's his sprinting animation here. So I added these little like motion blur lines on him when he's sprinting like that, just to give some extra kind of motion to the animation, which is cool. And then he does these. So we need to kind of finish his idle animation there as well, so it looks it just looks a little better. So this is his active idle, and then the strafing I want to work on. Yeah, that's pretty much the main stuff that I've been up to. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and look at this. So we've technically finished the run animation. We finished the sprint animation. So both of those are completely done. We need a backwards running. And then I want to do something with dashing, because right now with dashing, he just like sits there. Which, you know, for some of them it looks okay, but I want something that's like, maybe he's like kind of like shifting to the side, like he's gliding, or he kind of like pops in and out and it turns into like a shadow or something like that. So gotta think about that. And then I do want to create some HUD, and then there's some collectibles that you'll end up picking up, and that's for upgrades for weapons and mainly weapons. There's some other like magic items that you get in the game. They're not really magic, but something like that. And then I think actually what might be best to start with is creating a room for the arena, and then that's where we're gonna do all of our testing. So I think we should get started with that. So let's look how to do that. So with our main level here, a lot of this is just drafts, draft work. So I kind of need to go back through and flesh everything out so it looks a lot more like this, which is cool looking. And then also just on this section here, technically all of this is animated, and so if you look closely, the whole thing shakes, and I really like that. So I want the whole level to look like that as well. Technically this area should do it, so I'll need to be conscientious of that. Okay, so we got this whole level, and honestly, like if we could get this finished, that could almost be demo ready. Like I would be okay like putting that out there and telling people about the game, which is cool. And then right here is like a little bonus area, and when you go into here, it will take you to another room, and for this we need to create that room. So far I think this is what I've come up with. Yeah, just this here. I need to make sure that all of the rendering actually works though, because looks like some of this might be appearing above Keegan, so I'm not sure why that's happening. I think the other thing is I'm missing a sprite here, so I could just throw in like, ooh, okay, that's actually important. In our main scene, we need to make sure that we apply this. We have set this to be a prefab, and then every time that we make a change, it changes it across all of the levels. So we like that. So if I pop into here, we should have, yeah, some of those changes at least. Okay, so for now, I think we should have our character fully up and running in this level. So that's cool. And then he can sprint, do all that, dash. That's super cool. I'm really happy with how the running animations have turned out. Like I'm very surprised that they look so fluid. Because I was just kind of drawing frame by frame, but like everything's worked out really nice. So yeah, that's cool. That's super cool. So this is of course his combat mode. When he's not in combat mode, he has these animations, which I'm going to redo. But for now, I have two different modes. Also in this mode, he only faces the direction that you're moving. So your mouse can be over here, but he just kind of walks wherever you push WASD. And then in combat mode, that's where he's getting ready to fight. So then you can target enemies and whatnot. Yeah, okay, so that's cool. So we're thinking about, I mean, basically this is the arena, so we probably don't need to do too much here. But we want to look at, I'm gonna throw in some collectibles for now. It's called scrap and then fuel. And those are the two things. So the scrap is just like this metal kind of, I don't know, scrap. That you pick up, and then you use that for upgrading your weapons. And then the fuel is this like ether elixir type of material, and you use that for creating like potions. And at some point you'll be able to create like basically like grenades, but they're kind of like bombs and things like that for just special attacks. So I think for our scrap, I'm thinking about doing something kind of like a gear, and then some like metal pieces. This is honestly a really big canvas. We could shrink it down to like here. Okay. So some sort of like, this is like a gear or something. So it'll have little like cog wheels on it. And then some piece of like metal sticking out here or something. And I'm not totally sure like what else it should look like, but it's just scrap. So it's just scrap metal and stuff. So I don't know, something kind of like this. And then we'll do the fuel real quick. And then the fuel is going to be something that's a little more like watery. So like something kind of like this, I think. And then we can color this like kind of a purpley, I don't know, something maybe like that. A little more. That might be too magenta-y, but yeah, and for now it doesn't have to be too perfect. We're just looking for just some brief sketches. So something like that. Okay, cool. And the other thing then that I should do is create HUD, which is one of the other things that I had on here. We want to create some on-screen elements that let you know how much of each you have, and I'm gonna have to figure out how to design that. And I'm not totally sure. I'm not totally sure what to do, so we'll have to think about that. Okay, so let's just go ahead and throw these in. I'll color this one as well. So I've always had the idea for doing scrap ever since I started making the game, and so this will help you upgrade your weapons, and it'd be kind of fun to draw some of those upgrade weapon trees at some point too. And so you'll need like a certain amount of scrap, and then you get different attacks for your weapons. So you start off with a basic attack that everyone knows how to do, and then later on, if you upgrade, you unlock a skill, and then you can do better and better attacks. And then for each of those, it'll have like its own animation, and it'll do different damage, and it'll be kind of like a fighting game, like Street Fighter or something. And then you'll have different weapons and things too. So it'll be pretty cool. All right, so that looks pretty good. And then we want to put it in fog. And then let's see, we could probably create like collectibles and then put it in here. So this will be scrap. And then this is the fuel stuff. Okay. It's super cool. I love all the animations. It makes the game feel so alive. It's so cool. Well, speaking of, I probably should do 2 frames for each of these. So I draw it twice, and then we'll animate between the 2, which is how you get that cool shaking animation effect on it. But for now, we just got these. Okay, so that looks something kind of like that. And then if I pop this down here, we can actually do both at the same time. So I think I wanted something kind of like this. Honestly, yeah. I was thinking about removing this little piece of scrap metal so it's just the gear. That might be kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, this is just about it. Like, and then I need collectibles. So then we go into here, and for this guy, we'll create some new variables. Scrap, and then fuel. I'll have to do something kind of fancy at some point with like saving these, so that way you can go between rooms and it won't reset these variables. For now, we won't worry about that. So for these, I think I'm going to, inside of the scrap and the fuel, I'm going to create their own scripts, and each of those, when it collides with the player, will increment the player's variable. So I'll create, and this way I can create a generic collectible script, and I can do all of my collectibles with it, because you'll be getting certain collectibles like lore material, and so having just the functionality set up, I only need to use one script, and so it's okay. Okay, so we need to go on probably collision enter, and then we're just checking if .name, right? Or we have to go GameObject.name. And then I'm assuming we just do Keegan. Yeah, so. Whoops. Yes, because he has the collider on it, so it'll be this right here. Okay, so I think that's probably the easiest way to do it. He has a rigid body. And the way that on collision works, I think that only one of your objects needs to have a rigid body, and then it'll detect it. You can't do it if they don't, if they're just colliders, but as long as one of them has a rigid body attached to it, it'll trigger this function here. Okay, so if it's run into the player, then it has to kind of run through everything. So if scrap, else if fuel, and then we'll do stuff later. So if it's scrap, I'm gonna do this real quick. I'm gonna go game object, P for player equals this. That way we can just grab this every time. Okay, so the other thing, or okay, actually, even better than that, I might want to grab the Keegan player script off of this. So we go get component, Keegan player. This way we can create a function inside of here. And we'll go public so everyone else can access it. Get scrap. And yeah, technically this is not conventional naming schemes, but for me, I like it. So get scrap, we'll just go scrap equals plus equals 1. And then for this one, it's fuel. And then we could just call this function. So we just go p dot get scrap. So he's collected one piece of scrap. And then get fuel. Okay, so then the other thing that has to happen when it's collided, pretty much it has to destroy the actual object every time. So regardless of if it's scrap or fuel, it's going to destroy it. And even if it's a different collectible, if it's a collectible and you run into it, it's going to destroy it. So we can just put this outside of these if statements. I mean, pretty much that should just work. We can come up with fun little sounds now too when you pick up stuff like Clash of Clans, how it has like the boo boo boo. So I think we just need to add box colliders to each of them. Maybe we'll do circle colliders. It's probably fine, right? And then radius. Yeah. Ooh, also, it would be really cool to have it kind of drift toward the player if it gets within like a bigger radius, so I might do that. Okay. I mean, okay, so let's just test this out. Should work. Just pick it up. Okay. That's really funny. So these have to be triggers. That's actually going to change our code a little bit. I forgot. This has to be on trigger enter. There we go. Oh, right. And then, oh, weird. Has to be a collider 2D. I didn't know that it was a collision 2D. It must be some event variable. It's very interesting. So I have to change that. Normally I use trigger enter, so I just forgot. Okay, now it should work. Just bloop. Okay, so I got one of them. What's up with this guy? Oh, I didn't add the script. That's why. That's funny. Okay, so that has to be scrap. and then we put this one, and this has to be fuel. Okay, perfect, easy. So the other thing that I want to do, just because I really would like to do it, is let's make it, if it's in like this region, it will drift toward the player. Because nobody likes the game where you have to collect every single little item. So I'm thinking an easy way to do this is we create a child object. I'll just call it drift. And this will have its own script. And what it'll do is when it collides with the player, on collision enter, or probably collision stay is the function that we'll use. I think that's a valid function. It will make the parent object drift toward the player at a faster and faster speed until it just hits them, and then the parent object has the collectible, so it destroys and it gets rid of the whole thing. The reason I'm doing that is because having multiple colliders on the same object, it's pretty much impossible to distinguish between them. I might be able to do it, but it's just kind of annoying. So all that we need is public float drift speed. And then let me see if this is on trigger stay. Yo, okay, perfect. That is what we want. So we got collider, other. Let me close some of these. I also did some other cool things that I'll show you. Okay, so if we grab these, so drift speed, it's only going to happen, like I'm only going to put this object on objects that drift, so I can edit the drift speed for each one. So like heavy objects maybe go slow or something. But pretty much everything's going to drift. So we don't need any of this logic. We just need if it's staying in the trigger, then hi, welcome. I'm trying to figure out math right now. So this will get a hold of the parent object. So maybe I do need a rigid body on the parent. I could just move the transform though. So we go transform.parent.transform plus equals. Okay, so we need a vector between the Keegan game object. So I think we can grab other.transform.position. And if we start from there, we take that, we subtract our position. And then we normalize that. Normalized. Then we add that to our position times drift speed. Oh, it's read only. Okay, so we have to go equals this plus this. The whole thing is only read only. That's so interesting. Parent game object to transform. How about that? That's so interesting. How do I get the parent game object? Set parent transform position unity. Okay, I have to use a special function. No, wait. Hang on. That's different. Ah, this is so fascinating. Hey, what's up? Welcome to the stream. I'm adding some little collectible items. I thought I was gonna do something kind of simple, but this turned out more complicated than I thought. I'm pretty sure I can. Okay, so let me see if I can just grab the transform.parent.gameObject, and that should be something, right? So we go gameObject g equals that. We should be able to just grab this gameObject dot. Oh, that's what I'm messing up. Whoops. Hang on. Okay. There we go. All right, we got it. And then the big thing that I'm gonna do is I want to scale this by the distance. So if I take, I guess the max distance, let me draw this out. If I take the max distance, I accidentally opened up Premiere. Whoops. No. Okay. So if I open up the max distance, whoop, we're looking at this here. And let's call that, like, I don't know, 10. I'm going to be moving it, so Keegan is out here. I want to move it in this direction by a certain speed, scaled by the distance. Yeah, so I just want to multiply by the distance. Okay. If I do it linearly, it would work. This is where I could introduce a cool function. So I probably don't want to do normalized then. And I just want to, yeah, I just want to get the transform. Okay, so let's try this. We'll add a circle collider to him. And we'll go, let's go like really, really big, just to give it a shot here. Okay, I'm gonna do like a kind of a slow speed, kind of delta time. Let's try that. Hopefully it's not too much. Put that back at 1. Okay, so we should see this slowly move in. Oh wait, I need a trigger. Okay. Oh, okay, so it's opposite. I need to, so I do need to normalize it. And then I want to, well, this is so funny. How do I want to do that? Because basically, right now, when it's far away, it's going really fast, and then it slows down. And I need it to be the opposite. I need it to be slow when it's far away, and then speed up. So if I normalize it, this is gonna just make the whole thing linear. I'm trying to figure out a way to do it without recalculating the distance. I might not be able to do that. Okay, so maybe I just do this instead. We go float distance equals dir dot magnitude. So if we divide this by the magnitude, I guess we call it mag, or whatever. Okay. We could just divide it by the magnitude twice. I think that would work. Okay, so it's moving slower, and then, okay. Yeah, we could totally do that. I think for both of these, then we should drop down this to be like pretty small, so that way it goes all the way into the player. I think I want it underneath the player, So it shows up here. And then for this, let's do the same thing. And then we just set a trigger for both, and let's just try putting a whole bunch of these around. See what happens. Or actually, hang on. Something isn't quite right here with the scaling. Okay, now they should be the same size. So if you grab both of these, and then we can just, I don't know, put them all over the place. Make this global, and we can work at center. There we go. So this way, if you're playing a level and you come across a whole bunch of stuff, let's see how easy it is to pick up everything now. So everything should just kind of generally move toward you. Just so that way it's not hard to pick everything up. Hey, that's pretty cool. Okay, awesome. Like that. Something else that I'm seeing that we could add is something like an outline or kind of like a glow to each of these. I could do something like that with shaders for now. Let's just add an outline to the actual object. So I guess we might as well kind of do like the final version for both of these. So let's go. Or actually, there's an easy way to do this. I can do a glow here. Boop. And then we just make it white. Yeah, something like that. So each of these will have kind of a glow here. Yeah, okay, so I could render this over the top of, like, fog and stuff. Like, when there's mist in front of the camera. Maybe I don't, though. Maybe it looks fine. We don't know. So, we'll give that a shot for now. Let's just kind of draw this in now. So, that black outline is actually pretty good. So let me, whoops. Oh man. Okay, so let's just kind of finalize this here. And then I'll make a second copy of this. So that way it's drawn slightly differently. Yeah. Okay, so in comparison, they are pretty similar. not that different. And then I'm gonna copy this part right here. Boom. Okay. Cool. So the other big thing is we want to add glow to both of them. So we'll do that and see how that looks. Okay, cool. So I think that takes care of fuel. So we'll go fuel 0, and then fuel 1. Okay, and so then what that looks like here is, should probably turn these into prefabs as well. So we're gonna go. Yep. Onto this, we add a sprite animator. And this, oh, those look pretty good. I like that. Cool. Okay, so we're trying to add this here. It's not working though. Hang on. There we go. Okay. FPS. Yeah, okay. All that stuff should work. I am working on creating some little collectibles. So here we have this thing called fuel. And it's going to be kind of this like elixir material that you collect in the game. And then there's scrap. And this is like a metal thing that you use to upgrade your weapons. So I'm trying to get the sprite animator hooked up. And then that should be good. Okay. And then I need to turn this into a prefab. Okay, so let's try that. I'm gonna put a whole bunch of these around. And then the big thing that I did was I made it so that if you're in the proximity of these, it'll kind of like, they'll drift toward you. So hopefully it looks good on here. Yeah, so then you pick them up. And if I zoom in, you can see that they're just barely kind of animating. But anyway, so this is just to make it easier to pick up so that you're not like trying to pick up really stubborn collectibles and stuff. They drift right toward you. So that's cool. So we got that. I might make them bigger. Yeah, maybe like that big. Oh yeah, I know, right? So here's how it turned out though in the end. So we've gone ahead and we finished up all of the running animations, and so I have it all like totally finished. So I think right now I'm pretty happy with how this looks. We can always edit things later, but I think that these are pretty lively looking. So yeah, and then we're just picking up fuel. So that's super cool. Next up on the list, we're gonna do the metal pieces. Okay, so we gotta set all of those at the right scale. Okay. I think that looks fine. I don't know how to do that. Yeah, no, and I'm sure that something does. Yeah, but we'll fix that at some point. Let me pop onto this camera here. Oh yeah, and that's true too. Yeah, so that just has to do with maybe I'm making him move too fast or too slow or something. It's also kind of hard with a low frame rate animation because he only has one frame, and so he just kind of like drifts on it for like a 20 or how would that work? Like a fifth of a second, so like 0.2 seconds. It's kind of a long time, honestly. So when you're running, like in real life, you only hit the ground for like a really short period of time. So it's hard to do that. Okay, so what I was gonna do with this, add another glow to this one, but I'm gonna draw this twice again. So that way, we can kind of animate between the two, and then they, it'll look kind of lively. Okay. I'm not sold on this design yet either. Like, it's pretty good, but I might revamp the scrap later on. So much of just working on games, I feel like, is just trying to get something working, so that, you know, it's playable, and then I can see if it's even fun. So I'm not super concerned about that. Okay, cool. That looks pretty decent. And then we should color all of that in. Let's see how I can do that. If I do that, yeah, I think that works. Yeah, the documents. Yeah, no, I totally understand that. I think, yeah, some people do. Some people enjoy it. But I'm trying to, honestly, if you have any good ideas for like how to do different lore stuff, I need ideas for that, because I don't know what else you can do other than documents. Like, I would love another idea. This isn't quite working. Okay, this is the one that we want here. That looks very interesting. The idea of a library near the very start. That is definitely, that is the plan that I've had so far, is as you like do certain things in the game, you'll go back and then it like unlocks a new area or like unlocks this book or something like that. That's like the best idea that I got so far, because like I don't know what else to do. Yeah, and the whole like kind of eldritch monster type of theme is really cool. I like it. Okay, let's grab 0. Yeah, yeah, totally. If you guys want a Discord, I could totally make a Discord. That'd be super cool. Yeah, because then we could totally talk more about ideas. We could brainstorm and stuff. That'd be super cool. Okay, yeah. I think after this stream, then I'll think about doing that, and then I'll send out a link and stuff, and yeah, totally. That's super cool. Because also I have a ton of art that I could share in there that I've drawn, just because on stream it's like I'm not able to get through everything that I want to. I wish. It's collectibles, right? Okay. I like the glow on it. It turned out pretty good. So then for both of these, I gotta throw it into here, and need to copy this guy. Okay, here we go. One and two. Okay, so then we got this scrap, and I think I want to make it bigger as well, kind of like that. And then we want to turn that into a prefab as well. So let's throw it down here. Okay, the pixel is funny. I don't need that anymore. I'm not using that anymore. Yeah, totally. Well, so it's so complicated to talk about. There are times where you won't be able to fight and win, and you'll have to escape. And then there's some times where it's just like there's kind of like generally monsters around that like aren't that big of a deal. But it's like the really big monsters and stuff, like you pretty much won't be able to beat them, and you just have to run away most of the time. So it's definitely, it's not like a hack and slash game where you just like, you beat everything all the time and you just have to like boss battle. It's like, it's definitely a lot more, I don't know, what word am I looking for? It's like nuanced. It's a classy game, you know? It's not like Doom where you just like shoot up everything. Okay. Yeah, and like the super hard mode if you actually manage to fight all of the bosses, yeah. Yeah, totally. It's just like multiple Sans fights in a row. Okay, that looks good. I like that. The one thing I am gonna do is on the sprite animation script, I want to add a randomize option. And what this will do is at the start, if randomize, it is going to set the current frame to a random frame, so that way it's not like, so like all of the scrap right now, they start at the same frame and then they all flip back and forth, so it looks kind of weird. I have played Little Nightmares. It's actually one of my favorite games. So I think we do sprite stock length. So, because I don't affect current frame. Yeah, so I can actually set it right here. We just go random.range sprites current length. Yeah, and then we just set it as 0 on that. Yeah, I think that works. Let's give it a shot. Yeah, Little Nightmares was cool. I think the major games that like I'm being inspired by for Fog is Darkwood, Undertale, and like the old RPG Maker games. I can't think of any like super popular ones. There was one called The Crooked Man, I think. It was pretty cool, but I want it to be narrative heavy, so it's mainly focused on talking with people more than it is the fighting, although there is a lot of fighting mechanics, and you do fight like bosses and stuff, but I want it to be pretty narrative focused. Okay, so let me just pause it real quick, and if we've done it correctly, some of these should say current frame 0 and others should say 1. And none of them say 1. Okay, so we have not done it correctly. Let me think about this. So does random.range, is it exclusive? Maybe if I do 0 to 1. No, it says max inclusive. Interesting. Yeah, okay, sounds good. Yeah, I haven't played a lot of the Dark Souls games, that whole series, and Elden Ring. Yeah, I've been meaning to, but yeah, I bet they do. I bet they do lore really good. I have seen a little bit of it, so that's cool. All right, thanks for tuning in, though. Yeah, good to see you. So I'm going to print out the current frame afterward just to see if, like, did I do something wrong? I feel like I have to do length -1 though, because it's going to throw an error. Elden Ring. Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. So we should see some 1s in here. Okay, we don't. So that means, for some reason, even though it says inclusive, it doesn't seem to be that inclusive. So I must have to do this instead. Okay, and now it worked. Weird. Okay, so what's awesome about this is that some of the sprites are going to look like this, which is a different sprite than this one. And so they're not all going to like undulate at the same time. Some are going to be going like this. And so it'll look more like, I don't know, twinkling stars or something. So that's what I'm looking for though, which is really, really cool. I'm already loving all the hand-drawn stuff. I want as much of this game as possible to be hand-drawn. It's just such a cool aesthetic. So, okay, that's good. That's cool. So we have all of our scrap and fuel working correctly. It looks like it's adding all of those details into Keegan's character properly, which is good. I mean, we could create a HUD system too, because yeah, I'm thinking about doing that. I'm not really sure what to do about a HUD system. It'd be cool because I'll have like this big hand-drawn border, so it'll make the game look really nice. Maybe we could look at some other games for inspiration here, though. So I think that we should... Okay, so Don't Starve, I think, is going to be one of my go-tos for their kind of like HUD system. Not because I think it's good, but because their art style is all hand-drawn. And so if I can kind of get some ideas here for what to do. So I guess technically, what we'll need, what I could do, is we take a screenshot of this, and then let's just sketch onto it, and then we can kind of come up with some ideas. So if we have our HUD set up like this, what goes onto it? So we need our scrap and our fuel, just numbers. So should I do it in white? Okay, so the question is, where do I want to put that though? Okay, so we're gonna let me just write everything down. So we're gonna need fuel, scrap. We're also gonna want our weapon, because at some point we'll be carrying weapons. We'll want health. Health is gonna be kind of interesting in this game. I kind of don't want to display health outright as like a health bar or something. I want to do more of like visually the screen itself kind of changes, and the reason is because when you don't have a health bar, like a real health bar, I can kind of cheat behind the scenes, so that it looks like you should die, but you don't, because in reality, even though like your health bar should be at 0, it's not, and you have like 50 more hit points. But I hide all of that behind the game, so then when you're playing it, like gets really intense because you're like, oh no, I'm about to die, and then you're not, and so then it makes the game feel like really intense at certain parts. So that way too, if like maybe someone makes it all the way through a boss fight and they're getting to the very end and it gets really intense, well, I can give them like some extra health points, so that they just don't die outright, and then that way just they keep playing, because the main goal is a fun experience, not really like a realistic experience. And so if I can hide that, we don't really want like health, so that would be cool to hide. I can't really think of too much more. There's got to be more things. So like down here, we're gonna have our dialogue box, and all that. Maybe, so probably the scrap and the fuel will go up here. At some point you will have like bombs that you'll be able to create. So I don't know how I'll do this exactly. Maybe I could put like the number inside, like here. And so these are just kind of sitting here, and it's like, you have 2 of those and like 9 of those or something. But these could like just show up only when you mouse over in like this whole region. And so then when you mouse over here, like this hides otherwise. Which then on top of that, this is where I'd want your bombs as well. So one of my favorite ideas with like how the bombs work is that you have an inventory. You also, at some point later on, I'm going to add a system that basically allows you to freeze the game, and then you can drag all of your bombs onto the screen. So you can like kind of take a pause and like, okay, woof, let me figure out how to tackle all of these enemies. And so if you press the middle mouse button, the whole game will freeze. And then over here, you'll be able to check out all of your HUD. And you'll have like, and let's say like you have certain bombs over here or something. And there's like these little crafting bays that you go to, and then you create all of your bombs there. So then you just walk throughout the game, you have your bombs. You would be in like your freeze mode right now, and then you would mouse over here, grab this, and then when you pull it out, immediately when you pull it out, this window collapses, and then it just shows this like dotted line from Keegan to wherever your mouse is, and then when you let go, that bomb will just be thrown. And even if, let's see, it should probably, like, after you freeze, you can do that, and then once you let go, it unfreezes, and then everything goes. Because I don't think I want you to be able to throw multiple bombs at once, just the one. But, so then that is how that will work. And so it'll show this, like, dotted line wherever your mouse is, and then you just let go, and then he shoots the bomb in that direction. So, some sort of menu over here for that, and then on this side is going to be a different menu for all of your weapons. So over here we're going to have and then there's two different types of weapons that you can have too. So there is a left-handed weapon, and then a right-handed weapon, and then there is a dual wielded, like, and you need both hands for that. So for these, your weapons in the game, so if there's like a sword here or something, if you're within a certain range of it, you'll be able to hover over it, and it'll show you like, oh, well, this looks like kind of a big sword, so this will be like this is a two-handed weapon. And then the way that you equip it is you just click on this, and then this shows up, and then you drag it into this area up here, and then when you do that, you collect the item. And then if you're holding anything else, it like spits out whatever item that was. Then each weapon will have different attacks that you can do. And so you'll have, let's see. So it will probably show you, like over here, like, how would I do this? So it probably needs to show you, like, what weapon do you have, blah, 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 blah. What attacks do you have? But then if you have two weapons, it needs to show 6 attacks in here, so I need to have room for that. So let me try to imagine that. So it's gonna have probably like 8 boxes, because I probably want an icon for the weapon. Attack 1, slots for attacks 2 and 3, and then like the whole thing duplicated for if you have a secondary weapon. So we're gonna need like, excuse me, at least like that many slots, which looks pretty overwhelming, but I think if we split it up, you know, and then this is like your main attack, I think it'll be somewhat readable. And then, you know, if you only have one weapon, this isn't going to show up, so it's just the one. But, okay, so that'll show up like this, and then we have these little, like, menu icons and stuff, and it pretty much is like if you mouse over here, that shows up. If you come back, it goes back. And the only reason that you'd really want to do this is just like you can just see like, oh, what attacks do I have available and whatnot, and it'll show you like a brief little description of each one, and all that. Yeah, this is, I think, a decent amount for HUD. And then I guess up in this corner, I'm trying to think more like logically about this, because I want everything to be super duper minimal, as much as possible, but it's not easy with all the complicated information that like I'm gonna have to convey. Okay, so let's say on here, when you aren't interacting with anything at all, it probably doesn't need to show you much of anything. Like, you don't really need to know how much scrap you have. You'll clearly see what weapon you're holding. I could probably just get away with like this as the HUD. So this is the main HUD. And then there's like, you know, little arrow here, showing you like, I guess these would be in the reverse direction then. So interesting. Yeah, because then those would go back, this would come out. So something like that is just kind of like off in the corner, just to let you know, like, okay, you can mouse over here, do that, mouse over here. I mean, again, yeah, you don't really need to see your fuel and all of that, but I guess what could happen is maybe it's just sitting up there for these. But even that, it just already, like, it gets too crowded. Okay, so let's just kind of roll with this for now. I'm gonna experiment with it, and then we'll see like how much is actually vital for us to even use to begin with. So let's create a little board to shift out, because that's the other thing too. Do I want this to be filled in as like an actual like background, or do I just want it to be open? Because how would that even look? I don't know these things. Okay, so maybe I should design that real quick. All right. So I like having these. That's cool. It might be annoying to have that actually be animated, and so I might just want to use like a neutral object like this, where it's just a single frame. And then for each of these, we go for these will draw in whatever number that you have. And technically, like, the other thing I was thinking was, like, if you mouse up here, like, this could shoot down from up above or something like that. But I do really like having everything just, like, come out as a panel to the side. Although some sort of, like, kind of almost like a hotbar up at the top where everything comes down, and then you could, like, show what weapon you have or something like that. Like, might be useful, but I this is good enough. The other thing, you actually don't use these when you play the game. That's why I don't want to show it. You don't use these until you come up to the places where you can upgrade your weapons. So they're not actually important. Although you should be able to see them. So, okay, that's decent enough for now. Just creating a little bomb spray. I think, yeah, it would make sense to have, like, empty squares available. And then these would show up, kind of implying, like, okay, you could get a bomb here. Chair is very squeaky. Let's go. Actually, instead of that, let's do something better. Let's go. Yeah, something like that. And then I have an idea for this. And, like, I don't know, you probably don't need more than 8 bombs. That's a lot. You'll be able to get through the game with that. That's fine. Okay, so that's just those guys, right? Oh, okay. So let's scoop those guys out. Put that in. And then we want to make these fill up. Okay. And actually, so what I'm thinking here is that I want to reduce the opacity on this. So they're kind of like that instead. Maybe a little bit more. And then I'm going to draw X's in them. So we'll go like this. We'll go. Go a little bit whiter. Maybe more like that. Okay. Okay. So now we grab this. And we put them all in here like that. Except these are also like, boom. Something like that. Okay, so that's your empty HUD. Getting ready to get some bombs in there or something. I probably want to create multiple versions of this for each. Oh man, how am I going to do that? Hang on. Okay, so I think what I'll do is I'm going to create a new one. Let me just save this. I'll put it into UI. We'll go X. And then I'll manually put it over each one of these, because if it fills up with a bomb, then I want it to replace the X. Okay, so that's pretty good. And then yeah, we get the bombs there and stuff. Like, does that look okay though? Is that how I want that to look, or do I really want this to like have an edge to it and stuff, and like, you know, be something like that? The other thing that I always thought would be cool was to have sort of like a leather kind of texture on it. Oh, I guess something that I have been doing recently is paper. I've done a paper texture. Do I have, where's that? It's gonna be in here. Backgrounds. I mean, something like this would work too. Let's think about this. Yeah, we could do something like this. Let me just grab as much of this as I can, and then let's just experiment with it. So we're just brainstorming ideas right now. So something like that comes out there. And then it's like, okay, here's all your stuff. You know, what we could do too is make this like slightly transparent. That might not look good. Okay, we could just make it darker in color. Would that work? That's pretty good. Wow. I didn't expect that. Yeah, and then we just add some edges to it, you know? Like, just kind of draw some stuff. Let me bump that back down, and I think, honestly, that'll look pretty good. Okay. Yeah, HUD is always like the hardest part with games, because you have to show enough information without showing too much information, and it's not easy. Okay, and then obviously this is a little busy, has a little too much, you know, stuff going on it, but something like that, more or less. That's the plan. So we could kind of pull this guy out a little bit more like that, and then I guess like lighten this one up maybe. Go something like that's kind of cool. And I think what I like about it is that it is going to have symmetry. With the other side. And so if I duplicate this and then we flip that, that's pretty much what I want the other side to look like too. And so we'll have up here the two-handed weapon, right? Actually, it works really well. Okay, and then we go something like okay. I'm starting to like this. I'm starting to like how this looks. That sort of like binder ring aesthetic. Really cool. I like it. And then this would show each individual item. So this will be your, you know, weapon 1. Whoop. And this will have this kind of bar that runs across there. Then we have attack 1. Attack 2, attack 3, and then we could duplicate that over. And that pretty much fits like perfectly. Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, wow. All right. I'm super happy with how that's turning out. Let's just save that as like HUD. And then I can go back and edit all of this later. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. There's a lot that I could do with this. I'm happy with this though. Like I feel like this isn't too in your face. This isn't too. It's not that it's not gonna look that complicated when you actually get to start playing the game. And yeah. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Well, okay, so I am going to. Oh, and then honestly, Bastion is another huge influence for the game, but. That's the goal. It's kind of juggling all of those different influences. Okay, I think that's good. I'll cut out the images for the HUD later on. I guess I could do that right now. It's not that hard. I just have to go. We'll just do, yeah. Cool. And then let's just throw that in, see what it looks like. It's in UI, and then we got HUD 1, HUD 2. Throw this into the camera. Yeah, that's cool. That's super cool. So, obviously these won't sit out all of the time, but they'll just sit there. And when you hover over here, it's like, oh, it'll show you all your stuff. So you can boom, boom, and you'll pick up one of these things, and then they'll like slide in and out. So then this will go like whoosh, something like that, and then pop out. And then they'll just sit kind of like here normally, but just having them out like that is, yeah, that'll be nice. So you only have one side out usually at a time. So it's like you're picking up all your stuff and, okay, here you can swap out your weapon, you know, pull this out, do that. You'll be done with that, so then that'll go away. And then you can pop out this one, and then you can upgrade and do all your stuff here. I like these. I like these. That's cool. I won't do it now, but I could set up these to just show your counter for how much fuel you have and stuff, but I might have to make those bigger. Anyway, awesome. So that looks really good. Super happy with how all of that's turned out. I am going to wrap up the stream now. Yeah, okay, cool. It's been a blast. So I think that's a lot of big stuff that we have going on. And I think having all of the HUD working is going to make the whole game feel like a game. And so then when I'm kind of testing and all of that, it's going to look, it's just going to look like a game. So, all right. Well, anyway, thanks for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. And then we'll be working on, let's see. So technically we got the scrap and the fuel working. That's cool. Yeah, we have arena room enough. We're kind of getting the HUD working, so that's cool too. And then we just have some other things. So I don't really want to work on animations for a while. Like, that was fun, but I want to do some other things. I could get the colliders set up, and then I think the other big thing that I wanted to do was, I guess just for now, make like HUD works with sliding animations, and then we'll like finalize HUD pictures, and then show scrap/fuel on HUD, and then work on picking up weapons. Yeah, so that would be some fun stuff to work on that's less like animation focused, so that way I can just kind of start chugging along on the game. Anyway, so for now, that's all that I have today. Thanks for joining me. It's been fun, and I will see you next time.